Hello, I'm Brandon Martini, a commercial pilot and flight instructor.
And I'm Carson Vasquez. I'm a private pilot.
And you're listening to the Aviation Mentors podcast, sponsored by Stratus Financial.
So buckle up, because the Aviation Mentors are taking off.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us again on the Aviation Mentors podcast. We have an awesome, really amazing guy that we're going to interview today. His name is Mario. And Mario has been a private pilot. He has his complex endorsement, I believe now. He also worked as an airplane cleaner in this industry, an A&P helper, and avionics technician. So we're going to talk to him about kind of how he got started and what his journey's been like from kind of starting to become a pilot all the way to what he's doing nowadays. And it's been quite the journey. And I've known Mario for several years now. And he's an awesome guy to know and watch him grow. So we want to have him on the podcast today to talk about some entry-level jobs that you start with and the connections you make. And then also when you've kind of stepped up just above entry level and you're working your way up to different things in this industry. So welcome to our podcast, Mario. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on here. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have a chance to talk about my whole journey through this entire industry of aviation and different jobs I've explored, but overall, just the growth I've had from it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Everyone has a story. It's awesome hearing everybody's story, because it's, every time you ask a pilot, how'd you get in aviation? It's always just an amazing story, and you just watch their face light up. So I'd like to do that again today. So Mario, why did you become a pilot? How'd you do it? And how long did it take you?
So I wanted to become a pilot simply because of a small interest I've had with flight simulators and virtual reality experiences on flight simulators. I tried it out of curiosity, and I really thought it was something I wanted to do in the future. I just didn't know how to ever start. So after I heard about flight schools and the whole discovery flight sort of experience you can have, I was very on board. I wanted to do it right away, and I wish I had done it sooner, but I did not know about it at the time. So I went up with my mom for her birthday. I used it as an excuse to fly a plane. And after that, I feel like my whole life changed. I feel like I had a purpose, and I did what it took to really start learning and did everything I could to get my license.
That's awesome. That's definitely the aviation bug that gets everyone when they do their first flight, right?
Absolutely. Mario, how old were you when you got your pilot certificate, and how old are you now?
I got my pilot certificate when I was 17 years old, just a week before my 18th, and I am 19 now.
That's pretty awesome. There's a lot of young listeners that listen to the podcast, and I'm sure that's kind of an inspiration to them, because it's challenging to get your pilot certificate, especially when you're young and you've got so many things going on with high school and other things that go on in your life and having to work and do all the other stuff. So it's really awesome that you got your pilot certificate. And I have to tell you this, I've flown with Mario several times. He does know how to fly, and he flies really well. I let him fly quite a few of my airplanes without any hesitation. So he's a fantastic pilot, and I'm super stoked he got a certificate, even though I didn't train him to get it. I wish I would have, though. That would have been really cool. But I know your first job, Mario, was in this industry, at least, was an airplane cleaner for a local flight school. Did that give you any connections that you currently use today? And how has that kind of helped you in this aviation journey?
Yeah, so my first job was actually in this industry, and I used my connection with this job as an airplane cleaner to move up and sort of have proof in my abilities as other things as time goes on, because I feel like I'm a very ambitious person. I don't like to settle too much. I don't mean to say that in a cocky way, but I do really enjoy doing other things and growing. And there's so much potential in aviation and this industry to do other things. My initial thoughts were always, I wanted to be a pilot for work. I wanted to do that as a career. But, it's just an initial thought. I really wanted to be able to do more than just cleaning planes. Even though it is a start, I do understand everyone has to start somewhere. I'm just very glad it didn't turn out to be a typical run-of-the-mill 9-to-5. I really enjoyed the people I met here and all the people that have helped me in my journey. Everyone was very supportive, and it is definitely an industry that I would recommend to anyone to work in, simply because of all the people you meet and everything you get to experience and see and do.
I absolutely agree. It's an amazing industry to work in. Most of the people you meet are just absolutely down to earth, perfect people to be around. They're just so excited about airplanes, and everyone wants to help you succeed. Anytime you meet someone, you're able to make a connection out of it. And sounds like Mario did that. He started working at flight school and cleaning airplanes, and he bounced off that, and now he's working on airplanes. That's really phenomenal. And, speaking of going on and working with airplanes, I heard that Rich Kavu Aero Service, who we had on one of our first episodes, just hired you a few months ago as a maintenance helper. So how did you like that? How did it work out for you?
Moving on to working on airplanes was definitely a huge transition into what my possibilities are in my career. It definitely was a very big change in my vision for this industry and what sort of career I wanted. I never planned to make it much further than just working on planes and being a helper for Kavu and Rich. But over time, of course, things change as you include your work into your life and sort of want to think about the things you can do with that. So working on planes helped me do other things in life, like work on my car. Like, it's helped me sort of make a thought of wanting to be a general overall good mechanic, hands-on person. And I really do enjoy the mechanic aspect of planes. Getting my license and learning how to fly definitely helps understand that a bit more. And it actually does help a lot more when you put it into practical terms. So working with Rich and working at Kavu, definitely a life-changing experience for me. And I would have hoped I could have done it sooner.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I've known Rich for several years, as everyone knows, and he's a fantastic mechanic to work with and to work under. I'm guessing you've learned quite a bit of things from him, and I know I have. I've learned a ton from him over the years, and I can't imagine working with him all day long. I'm sure you learn quite a bit. But since working for Rich, I know that you started training as an avionics tech helper, and you actually have quite the knack for it. I actually tested a radio that you helped put in the other day, and it worked fantastic. Normally, whenever you have radio installations and things, at least from my experience, even large avionics shop, there's always something that doesn't work right, and it just gets so irritating every time you go fly an airplane and brand new avionics, something doesn't work perfect. It even happened on one of my friends' Aerostar. Like, he had like this huge panel put in, and we go and fly it, and the avionics aren't working right. You couldn't even use COM 2. Like, it was so stupid. But Mario has quite the tack for it. I got on this airplane, the avionics worked flawlessly. I mean, perfect. The only thing that I complained about is I wanted to turn the volume up on this radio that I didn't know how to turn the volume up. But that was a me problem, not a him problem. So we figured that out pretty quickly. But since you started training as an avionics tech helper, how do you like that? And do you think that's kind of where you're going in this industry? I know that's just kind of the step above the entry level position that you had in Kavu and even for that flight school. So how do you like working your way up and doing something else? Is this something you really enjoy?
Personally, I really do believe I have a huge passion for avionics and learning the ins and outs of electrical work and aviation and airplanes. I definitely am still a beginner, but out of hobby electronics and little things I like to work on at home and all the knowledge I've had from studying this out of my own curiosity and passion, working at Kavu and having maintenance experience does help add on to that, because I can now do electrical work on airplanes, and it definitely is something I feel proud of whenever I work on, because I am the type of guy who works on stuff and loves to see it work. I love getting stuff done, especially if it's something I put together and I was able to, kind of make an accomplishment out of it. I love having the experience of doing avionics and electrical work. I haven't done it that long. I've mainly been doing, general maintenance for Kavu, like inspections and oil changes and stuff. So being able to do avionics and sort of prove myself in that world, I've definitely loved it a lot. And from now, I do believe I am going to keep going with it because I really love it. And I love being good in it. I love being good at something I really am passionate about and turning it into a career. So being able to do that and study and work for that, I feel like I am in a good position overall in this industry. And I'm way happier to know that I turned cleaning airplanes into this whole job of working on electrical, on avionics, on aircraft. So I definitely do believe, I do believe that I made a really big step in the right direction in my personal life and everything I've done so far. And I'm very appreciative of everything that's happened.
That's awesome. I'm really happy for you. It's you've taken quite a few big steps in just a few short years. It's really phenomenal. Rich is an amazing person to work with and work under. There was even a time where I spent maybe a summer, and every Friday I would go over and help Rich clean his office and the whole hangar over at Kavu. He's awesome to work with, and I learned a lot just doing that. I learned how to change the oil on airplanes and do the entire oil change from changing the filter to the safety wire. And that was just working Fridays just for a couple hours. So I can't even imagine how much you've learned in such a short time. And just for everyone listening, working in avionics is pretty well paying. There's a lot of job satisfaction from seeing something work, like Mario said, and not everyone can see it because you're not in our studio with us. But looking at Mario's face, you can just see the passion he has for what he's doing. It's really phenomenal, and I'm really proud of you. I'm excited to hear more about where you're going with everything.
Yeah, Mario. So I know you're a young man. You're starting out in your aviation journey, and it's a bit nerve-wracking being on a podcast with us, even though you know us for several years. But thank you so much for coming on today and kind of putting those nerves to bed and sharing your story, because it's inspiring to other people, being so young and changing from just cleaning airplanes to being a pilot to now working on avionics and aircraft. It's been awesome watching your journey from start to where you started at till now. And I'm excited for your future. It's going to be very bright and very fun and fulfilling. And hopefully I get to work with you and around you for years to come. And then we'll have you on this podcast when you get your AMP or become an IA, or you own your own avionics shop or something like that, something crazy, because I love seeing people win. And you're doing that. So thanks so much, Mario, for being on this podcast. If you'd like to reach out to any of us, you could reach us at Twitter or Instagram. You can reach me at Mr. Martini Guy, or you can reach Carson at Carson_AV17.
And as we wrap up for the day, remember, we're here to guide you in your aviation journey. So fly safe and enjoy the ride.